Today is September 21st, 2021. This is a meeting of the Hanson Recreation Commission. We are meeting at the main lodge at Camp Kawani. What time is it? It is 6:35. Okay, those in attendance are Diane Cullen,
Ryan presenting. Frank Lacey.
Audrey Flanagan, Rory Jameson. And in the audience, we have two of our caretakers, Matthew Story and Roger Mitz. Okay. First item on the agenda. We're not approving any minutes. No. Okay. Those will be done later. Discussion on landscaping in front of the lodge. So we had my very crudely drawn.
No, that's his.
That's Ed's drawing.
Yeah, I didn't make a copy of it.
Okay. It's crude. So anyway, Ed and I work here, we measured, it's like 500 feet around and way more than I thought. And we have an itemized estimate from him. I think people just saw it. Did anybody see it? You saw it. You just saw it. Did anybody get it?
You emailed us.
My original email.
Yeah, she sent back the second pack.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But it's $1,000 more than that.
Happened that I resent it when I realized that.
Okay, so I didn't talk about, he's not planting ground cover. We're talking about just keeping the grass.
Right.
That's not part of it. So can we have discussion on this?
The original quote, and then there's a new quote we got, right? So.
It was sent to you in an email.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring it up?
Yeah.
Is there any discussion on it?
What was the vote that we took last meeting about this?
To go with this in pending the itemized.
And you didn't give us still this on the itemized list, so.
Go ahead, Brian.
As she just said,
It's be patient.
it's fairly simple. I mean, how much is a dogwood tree? How much is a birch tree? How much is a redwood? How much is a granite block? How much is the labor to put this in? How much to install the walls? How much to install the walls? This should all be broken down because if this goes to accounting,
They
accounting,
won't pay.
it cannot be. So
Right.
we should be seeing.
And I thought I made that very clear in my email to them. I said, broken down with cost of trees, cost of labor, everything. That was the email that I sent.
I looked up last night through many sources, and I couldn't come up with more than, based on this list,
Yep.
I'm going with the most expensive dogwood tree, granite rock, all that stuff. I can only come up with about $2,000 worth of materials, so it looks like we're sitting on about $500 to $5,500 just with the labor.
Okay,
So something kind of seems a bit extreme,
okay,
in my estimate.
all right.
I mean, labor's gonna be the whole bulk of it.
Right,
Actually purchasing the item.
right. It totally would.
So we're looking at as far as labor, man hours, and the cost per hour.
Right.
That's not the front. Can you get that in front?
Sure, I can ask them that. So, yes, Joan, go ahead.
I still feel these are out of whack on all his prices. And a lot of the stuff that can be done by either the town through the highway department or through Roger himself. Which, because we've got the landscaping experience, so I mean, to put up the money for things that could be done by us internally and only have to pay for the things that we're gonna need to buy, we'd be better off than if we're coming over and need the $5,700 that we do have.
I mean, the issue.
And I still think that we should go to somebody else still that gives us a price. I think this is way out of proportion.
And I'm fine with that, but didn't we put, wasn't it one of the only ones that gave a price?
Yeah.
And the thing of it all is that I know you want to have,
I'm just putting it out there. If you want to do it,
but I think we should have put it out there before, is all I'm saying. I think we should have called other people to do this.
I still don't think it's too
who
much
was
to
it,
do
who was
that.
it put out to?
Yeah, I know, I have to look and see, but I know it's been called at least 3 people. And Ed Shin was the only one that was heard from.
Right.
We did do our due diligence.
We did our due diligence in it.
If we exceed the budget, where's that coming from?
That's the question. That's the problem. We have 5,700 in the budget. And we don't have a line item for the difference.
I mean, can we tell them what our budget is and say, what can we do for this money?
Yeah.
Sorry, we
Yeah.
can't go over it.
Absolutely.
This is what we have.
This is all we got,
If
yeah.
you want the job, then you have the job. And the other issue with having caretakers is we've already cut the schedule, and we're cutting the schedule. So the caretakers don't have projects. I don't think they're being assigned projects. There's a lot less caretakers on at this point. So we just don't have the budget to pay them to do this.
We'll have that in October.
I'm sorry?
Is that, when we go to town meeting, we're asking for more funding.
We're asking for funding, period, because we
Right,
didn't get funding.
because that was cut at the last meeting.
Right.
So we'll have more money coming in, hopefully,
Hopefully.
if the less take the funding.
Can we use some of that grant money or whatever that's set aside to pay those internal costs for caretakers?
I don't
Or
think
does
so.
it has to go to the commercial guy?
No, are you talking about the money that was set aside for this?
Yeah, can some of that be used to use it to pay internal outside?
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, you can pay.
Well, just like that, the other grant, I don't think we can pay their salary with it.
Oh, yeah. I don't
It would
know.
have to become part of the budget, and that
It would have to be,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that's,
Well, it would have to be defined, we'd have to define it, assign person for the labor piece. I suppose it could be done,
it
yeah.
would be a lengthy,
Yeah, you'd have to be very specific on the hours, the rate of pay, the specific duties. So they could maybe do the labor piece and then the supplies come from.
so that we handle the labor piece here?
Yeah.
If the materials are delivered,
Yeah,
do we have the resources?
Hold
well,
on.
we got to get the funding from the article, so.
I mean, as far as.
Do we have the manual labor resources, is what he's asking.
Right.
Roger, I'm gonna ask for your opinion on that.
Let me ask you a question first. With a project like that, can you go over the 19 hours a week?
Well, that's the other thing. If the money is coming from the other, no, because it's still an insurance matter.
Right.
So no.
But do we have caretakers who need more hours? I know that was a question.
If we have the money to pay them, yes, yes. Joan had a question, and then I'll go to you, Frank.
Okay, but the money that we're asking for at this October meeting is for, to replace labor, money. But it was the financial part of it.
Labor costs, yeah.
Yeah.
Wages and personnel.
Yeah, it was the second line, because in other words, they kind of, it was supposed to be $144,000, and they only left us with $44,000 to pay Dory and caretakers,
And everybody.
and anybody else that we hired, anybody else. I mean, if we did anything else. But, so that $100,000, it would be enough to pay the extended labor, but no, we can't. That 19 hours is all that we're allotted to have for our part-time help, and that's the extent.
I don't think that that's ever gonna change,
No,
right?
that you would have to go it through town meeting, what have, but it just listed for part-time.
Frank?
I agree, we're gonna need an itemized list, but also moving 15 yards of mulch around here and doing, I find it hard to believe that a landscape will let us substitute his work and for his project that he wants to do and have us put and kind of substitute the labor that cost that he's gonna be essentially profiting from, right? He's gonna be, doesn't want somebody coming in and spreading the mulch, but that's gonna be his bobcat time doing it for, you know, it might take 10 hours or something like that. The other problem we have, if we don't plant this now, we're gonna have to wait, not now, but in the next, probably a month, we're gonna have to wait until the springtime.
Yes, we are.
The trees.
Right.
And then, you know, if there's frosting, things like that, the trees, then that's fine. But at the it's kind of interesting that we asked him for an itemized receipt multiple
And
times,
didn't-
and he didn't give us an itemized receipt. I mean, it's nice to see what's in the plan, but
And I will say that I'm a little confused only because I thought we weren't going to do the gravel walkway because we had determined that people really aren't going to use it anyway. Everybody just kind of gravitates to the fire pit from wherever they
There's an
are.
electrical issue there too.
And there's the electrical and the gas lines there, which if it's just gravel, you can't get
It's not
to.
gonna be a problem.
It's still, right, I'm not saying it's convenient. I'm saying it's not insurmountable like a concrete walkway would be, you know, but, yeah, I don't know.
so
Which one?
did he draw this?
Is that the one, that's probably his first, that's the drawing he sent them. That's his drawing that he sent to
Yes.
10 hours to do.
This is, and,
That one's his drawing, this is what.
This one right here? This is-
Yeah, this is kind of, we were looking for ideas, that was kind of tossed something in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, this makes more sense, kind of having the gravel walkway go around the fireplace than it does having to go around the gravel picnic there. Yeah.
all right, so,
You can't really do anything until we have an itemized receipt from him. That's the crux of the matter, I think.
okay, so this is going to have to wait yet again until we get a properly itemized list of what everything will cost.
And I really think we need to tell him a budget, we can't go over that. Sorry, what can you do for this amount of money?
Okay.
So then, I think that in the meantime, we should probably, like you had mentioned that you had someone else to contact, that you,
You can bring him in here and just give him this and say, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to give him something, a plan that somebody else has worked on, that's,
I'm not talking about
If you
the
give
plan,
him
I'm
a
talking
plan,
about.
but you're saying, okay, I want this, what would that cost be?
Yeah,
You're not telling him what you're paying, you're just giving him a landscaping design, that's all you're doing.
but
It
I
might come
believe,
in $2,000 less and you don't need it.
but I don't even think that is, we don't want the gravel
Well,
walkway.
we can take that out, you can put pavers, you can do anything.
I have him start blank one there, that one there, or the white one. Give to the guy, to tell him to design something on it, and give us a price of what it would cost for each item that he puts on that list. That would be the itemized part, and it would tell us what he would suggest to put there. And then we would compare it to whatever we finally get from Sheehan for an itemized list, and a drawing too, because we can give him a picture of the white things and have him draw out on there what he plans to do and where he plans to do it. Therefore, we have a comparison between the two. I'm done.
So,
I just want, I don't want you to get upset right there.
I am upset because I think he went overboard and he's charging us way too much.
Okay, okay. But I get nervous when you get,
I know, but that's my personality.
I know, but I want you to stay
I'm
calm,
still working.
okay?
so,
I just don't feel.
Moving on, I'm gonna ask Audrey, I'm recognizing Audrey right now, go ahead.
I've been on the board since June, you guys have been talking about this with this vendor. So I think that the time, in my opinion, has passed to reach out to other vendors. We've already gone through 2 other places. This guy's put a lot of work into what, this plan so far. We've gone back to him. This is just my observation, being on this commission for a few months, that, we're in October and you guys were talking about this when I joined in July. So my recommendation would be to get that itemized list from him. And Brian, maybe you could get an itemized list since you are already working on this, and maybe work with Roger to find out how many hours it would do to do it on our own versus having this company do it. Sheehan, thank you. Having Sheehan do it, and then we can compare it. We have the plan. You know the list of the trees, you know what we want to have done. Make sure that they're comparable though, and not like a little stick tree from Lowe's, because one of the things that we did learn is that landscapers do provide a sturdy enough tree that will withstand damage from kids jumping and playing, and then this campus public property. So, I think comparing apples to apples on us doing the work with our caretakers and what the labor and the hours are going to be versus Sheehan, and I think we just need to vote on one of them.
If Sheehan gives
hold
us
on.
a detailed,
Sounds like a good one. Just go ahead. Sure.
if Sheehan gives us a detailed man hours, what is it backhoe for 5 hours, is it 10, man hours? Then we understand what we need from an internal labor perspective. That 2 guys are gonna work 20 hours on this, 1 guy's gonna work, that's defined.
Yes.
Then we can go back to internal labor, oh, we can't do it, we don't have extra labor. If he's more in depth on the labor side, then we can compare it to, can we do it on the internal labor side? If we can, it's a done deal. So that's all.
Okay. Brian, go ahead.
That was just to address kind of what we're talking about, tree and multi-stem birch tree and all that. I mean, I know my original drawing was whatever it was.
Mine's really-
My original thought was, instead of having trees back in there, would be to have more, like you have your rocks out there now, you might have another rock somewhere else. And you almost use the smaller trees that, like like the Japanese mini maple, that may be this big, or maybe a bush that may be this big, rather than you're gonna stick a dogwood tree that is over the years, gonna start growing in the middle again, and you're gonna have this problem later on.
Well,
I don't know how the landscape.
well, the thing about that is that those trees typically don't fall. They don't grow above the roof line of the lodge, number one. A dogwood tree pretty much won't ever get as tall as the pine trees we were worried about. Any of the trees that were spoken about are larger, but they're not over the roof line, where they would be in proximity to hurt the lodge should they fall. The thing about birch trees is they are native to this area, which is great. They're very flexible and they're self-pruning, and they don't drop a ton of leaves either. So that's why, and we thought the white would be a nice contrast with the dark lodge. So there's, it's aesthetically pleasing. And the flowering trees, we thought would be great just to add color and a little more before flowers are really out and about.
I know we met with them, we had a conversation about the placement of the trees, because right now, if you're looking at this picture, basically what they wanted to do was around the fire pit, or they have the gravel or whatever, around the fire pit. I would see it as a, want to be over here.
Yes, I totally agree.
If not, it's all panels of this.
And that's what I had said to him when we actually met, and I can see that this really isn't matching that.
I mean, probably just like what it said, just give it, this is
Yeah.
the actual.
Right, and we can certainly mark that. We can certainly mark that out. Frank?
So, I mean, the trees, every landscape you go to is going to have, the trees are going to be a lot more expensive than you can find. Same thing. Yeah, but you get what you pay for. Plus, I mean, realistically, I'm not an arborist here. I don't know if Roger's an arborist or not, but these trees also need to be cared for in the first, 2-3 years. We want a landscaper to come in here, put them in, and then they'll care for those trees as they kind of go.
That's another thing that's in the bid, is basically we take care of our own stuff, the tree dies, tough luck, is kind of the way I'm reading page 2.
Right. Well,
But I mean, if we have a landscaper that comes in here and he puts this stuff in there, at least we have somebody to call and be like, hey, this birch tree's not doing so well, what can we do to come and fix it, or something like that, right? We have an expert who can help us essentially.
But I'm not disagreeing with someone who do the job, I just want to make sure that we're all in agreement on what he's going to do, where it's going to go.
yeah, and,
And he has to stand behind the work. I mean, the tree dies, it kind of should work.
right, and the trees usually come with from the vendor, like, from the tree guy to Mr. Sheehan.
Right.
They usually come with at least the 1-year guarantee.
He said that guarantee. It says right on, there's no guarantee.
Well, let's,
But that's something I would ask, because the tree vendors usually themselves guarantee the tree for you.
I wasn't pricing on Home Depot that way, or what was running, I was going to vendors.
No, that makes sense. I mean, because trees are pretty expensive, but we all know that the landscapes have to make something off of the top of the trees. That's the price of doing the job, right? So, As well as they can't really guarantee a birch tree is gonna be healthy for the, the remainder of, 2-3 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone has, I don't know if that's common with landscapers, saying there's no guarantee on the birch tree or trees in general, but I mean, I think the issue is right now is that we don't have
We don't have the itemized list.
we don't have the itemized list.
There's some things that need to be tweaked on the plan.
There's some things that need to be tweaked on the plan,
And it's over budget.
and it's over. And then also, we don't know how much he's gonna charge us for labor, we don't know, how much the trees are gonna cost and things like that. I just think if we have our own people here doing it, then, it's probably gonna come up to probably the same price with, unless we wanna rent a Bobcat to move 15 yards of mulch. And then also screen room and stuff, and have them professional, it's gonna be a cost, it's gonna be a big cost if we don't have a Bobcat for it, so, there's less than Bobcats that matter somewhere.
Okay, Joe, go
Okay,
ahead.
I want to go back to the previous meeting when we had discussed yard drawing. We voted 5-0. That was the type style that we wanted to go with. Got it right on.
No, I know. Yep.
Okay, so I mean, it actually throws out his ideas, and it adds how you wanted to do it, where you wanted to mulch, how you wanted to put boulders around it. That's nothing to do with his original plan at all. Plus, we had suggested rows of Sharon trees as opposed to, it doesn't matter what, but,
We were thinking of putting, just so you know, we were thinking of putting roses of Sharon on the fence at the cove too, because they make a nice hedge and they do color.
right.
So,
But anyway, but I just wanted to know that we also had mentioned, talked about putting it from the second set of stairways going down at the end of the porch, that we were gonna put in we were talking about possibly putting in a cement walkway there.
right.
And this one here could be with the pavers, and then, because pavers can always be picked up and put back down if we had to dig under it, or go under it. So that would be the suggestion, so what we need to do is get prices for pavers there, get what cement would be, but this is the plan.
I understand
We
that.
approved it, not his.
I understand that. Hold on. I just want to say that we sort of determined that no matter where, pavers, number one, are extremely expensive. We wouldn't be able to come anywhere near budget if we include pavers into this landscape design. Secondly, on the side stairs, we agreed that if you were going to put something over there, it looked random when you got out there and it didn't work. Nobody would use it. And then we determined that this is such a relaxed place, nobody's following paths and everything, everybody's just walking.
So I was just gonna say, why
So
you
no pavers,
Right.
no anything.
No pathways because, again, the gas line is there, the electric box is there. Why make it harder than it needs to be? So I think we can just sum this up with, I will go back to Ed. If you want to bring anybody else in the meantime, that's the call here. I don't think we have time. I also think it's bad policy, where this was put out for bid. He was the one that came back. He's already put man hours into this. He's been very accommodating to come up here several times. And maybe there's just a miscommunication between myself and Mr. Sheehan. I don't know, because this definitely does not look like the design. But I will talk to him about that. And I think we just need to make him understand we need a better itemization, sorry, better itemizing on the estimate, on the receipt, and tweak the plan and keep it within the budget. Do we agree that those are the steps we should follow? Yes.
You mean the original budget, not what he put forth?
Yes, the original, but yes, the 50.
Our budget.
Our budget.
His
Yes,
original budget was $6,000.
right,
It was $1,000 less than what he's giving now.
right. So I'm talking our budget. And if,
We can also ask him to, if there is anything our caretakers can do to make the budget lighter. So, if we can
even if
have.
you just dig the trench
Even
and
if
they
it's
don't
just take
pour
the
the
trenches or something like that.
Right.
And then he can come in, just ask him, say we just want to know if there's something that we can do to make the budget, the labor costs of the budget a little cheaper.
Right.
Do-
Okay, I will ask about all that.
We can't exceed this number.
Yeah,
Right.
essentially, you can't see that numbers, if you need,
Okay.
if you want to keep the same design that he has, if the design is what we all agree with, what can we do to kind of help and
Okay.
make it, more
All right, so I think that that'll be the way we attack it. And I do want to stress that I would like this in place as soon as possible because the better landscaping is going to entice people. People want to do a little oohing and ahhing over where they have an event. That'll bring to the next time in our next meeting. So I'll take care of talking to him about these 3 points and report back at the next meeting. Or I'll report to Dory and she can send you the email. Does that sound good? Yep, thank you. Roger?
I'm not sure what the time frame is to have the whole thing completed, but I highly recommend at least the trees get in this fall, so they have a better chance of taking to the ground their new home by springtime.
Okay.
Waiting till spring and summer, that's a lot of sun on them to put freshly planted trees in. So my suggestion would be make sure the trees are in this year
Okay.
rather than next.
Roger, do you know if it's first frost and the trees have to be in by, is that generally why you?
I don't think there's a time for the frost. The biggest thing is the fall, they're dormant. So then they wake up in the spring in their new home rather than being planted in their new home.
So, yes, Brian?
Just a quick question on Dory, you might get this. I thought, was his name Diaz that pulled this off?
Alan, yes.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna come back and take care of any roots or whatnot before she came in. I noticed on this it says removing all roots and weeds to dump off site. But I thought he was gonna come back and because he said that they'd rise back up after
He did say that, he was gonna come back.
So that might kind of save us.
Yes.
He was gonna come back and
He did say that, and he also said he would donate the granite slab too.
And he still said that.
In the morning, yes.
That's, she was supposed to donate the grant.
Yes, both of them, yeah.
Oh, they both
Both gonna donate the slab, but yeah, yeah, I'll make sure.
Because
He did say that.
that might save us some money, this is gonna take a bit, because when we get that with Ed before, he said that his equipment's really near as big as his, so
Right.
it's easy for him to just come and chew it up.
And I did call Alan and he asked to see the boulders and stuff. And we sent him pictures
Yep.
of the boulders, right, you sent them? And has he contacted you since then?
Not yet, but I will call him in the morning.
Thank you. He did say he's been very busy because he had to take some kind of a class and everything, so
Yep.
he's been very, very busy.
He just picked up the log splitter, he let us borrow that for months.
Months
Very
and
generous
months,
of him.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we conclude the discussion on this landscaping right now? And I will be in touch and report back. Okay, the next thing is discussion on the article for the special town meeting and expenditure and revenue reports for fiscal year 2022. Dory, I'm going to sort of hand this over to you. And will you please excuse me, I just have to make sure my son goes home.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, as you know, we submitted an article for the special town meeting warrant because we were asked to cut $100,000 from our budget, which we did. And we had proposed that they take it, the $100,000 out, as you know, they took it out of salaries only. So this article is to rectify that one thing. But the other thing too, with the $100,000 that we were asked to cut, so that number is not enough for us to make it through. We're going to need additional funding because if you think about it, we had a year with no revenue whatsoever. We cut this budget by $100,000, so this number's not even good. And we didn't get, and the town received an override, which is wonderful, but we didn't. And we didn't get any relief either from that, some towns received some money from the federal government because of COVID. We didn't receive anything, so clearly we need money moving forward. In doing all the analysis, I think what we should do is ask to transfer from free cash should be certified by the special town meeting, transferred from free cash to our enterprise account, and I think we should ask for $100,000 from free cash. That will get us where we need to be for this year. But the other piece of this, I really think we need to be realistic and raise our rates, because we're just not making it on the rates that we charge.
Rental rates.
The web rates, yep. And I receive the feedback all the time, and everybody comes and says, oh my God, I can't And they all say that. I feel like I'm giving it away. And clearly, like for instance, we did, how many weddings did we do? 37 weddings. So we had, so in revenue for our 37 weddings, we made $145,751.60. So it's not enough. It's not enough to cover our expenses and salaries. So if we receive, if we want and we get that money from free cash, that would be great. If we don't, we're gonna have to really cut back, you know, with salaries, and we'll just have to figure it out. It's gonna be a lot of cutbacks. But I really think if you want to, maybe on the next agenda, or the next meeting, think about it, put on the agenda, raising rates, if you have an appetite for that. I don't know if you do, we've never really talked about it. But just going over the numbers, I feel, my opinion is if we don't, we're gonna keep, every year we're gonna have to ask the town for money because we're not generating enough revenue to cover our expenses. It's just that simple. And it's just factual, it's figures.
What is it?
So you actually have a question and a definite statement that probably nobody's going to like, but. So are you looking to do two separate warrants, whereas we would take monies that we threw into the town through the enterprise account, and then on top of that, the town kind of give us a buffer?
Yes.
Which would like split it in half, like 50 grand, or.
It would be like one article, and it would be to take from expenses, add to our salaries. That would be, which would fix the error that occurred last spring, and further to take $100,000 from free cash to the recreation enterprise
So
account.
we're basically asking for our enterprise money back, and on top of that, we're asking the town to kind of help us out.
Exactly.
It makes sense as a minimum.
We had no revenue for an entire year.
The raised rates conversation, luck with it, I know two board of selectmen members, I can tell you, bury that in a heartbeat. Also, when we're talking, asking for money from the town, and be all over that, I guarantee the conversation will come back up to supposedly enterprise account, and put it back into the general fund.
That doesn't solve the problem.
I know that, you know that.
We just had the same conversation with the transfer station too.
Correct. And the issue is we have an opportunity to make good money, and you know that. I mean, I don't know, we'll raise rates a little bit, but we end up knocking rates down. We haven't raised rates since we've been on the commission.
Yeah.
6 years, we haven't touched it. When we went to talk about it, we got knocked out of the kneecaps, it wasn't going to happen.
I know.
It was, the way the enterprise, well, I understand, the way this enterprise, because we have, unlike other departments, we can turn it around. I mean, this is easily $500,000+ a year area. To me, it's, and we'll say we need $300,000 to run this place a year. We'll say we can, through weddings and rentals, come with $250,000, then you only hold the town $50,000. If it goes into the general fund, now we're going to have to beg and hope that they're going to say, okay, you can have $300,000. That's my problem, where this I think might end up going. So just so everybody's kind of braced. And that's come up before.
Audrey?
I will volunteer after the carnival to do legwork on rate increases. We'll just book solid until the carnival is over, but I don't mind doing legwork to call around as a prospective ride to get rates from surrounding areas, and even for like, you know.
Melissa had done that.
Okay.
About 2 years ago, and for
Rates have skyrocketed.
rates have skyrocketed since COVID, and we have not.
Yep.
And in this general vicinity, I think the only two places that remotely come close to being, to look comparable really were the Camp in Duxbury, Camp Wayne, I think it was, and the Jones River Club. And both right now, I think are significantly higher. I think the Jones River Club, though, includes food. So, I think they have a restaurant, but I'm sure though, you know, I'm sure the food choices, you know, increase in price, you know, the higher, the more elegant you get. we are lower than both of those places significantly. And especially the Camp Wing place, it didn't include anything either. And as you said, Lori, I don't know if you said it while I was out of the room, everybody does keep saying, did you already say it?
Yes, everybody says, I can't believe how.
No, I know, I hear it too.
Yeah, that we are ridiculously low priced.
I feel like we're giving us away.
And the thing of it all is that, and the thing of it all is that,
But you should turn it back.
right? Yeah. I wish my glasses like this with more hands up. The thing of it all is that everything else is going up, and we're not. Rates are going up, like, we pay people more, and the more events we have here, the more we need staff to clean up and to repair and to maintain. And we've had some very large expenses here at the camp in the last few years. We're fixing things. So we want to maintain it at a level that, you know, the place will be here. And let's face it, we have some very big projects that we're going to need to handle, not the least of which is the landscaping of this place so that it supports the buildings that are currently here. So we are going to have to do that. I know that every time we talk about raising the rates, we do get some pushback from people saying it's not affordable, you know. I know, right?
Are those the same people that are buying the place out though, or just people complaining?
Those are the people in charge of the town.
So, okay, all right, let's be
yeah,
professional here, but we do get pushback, but I think what we also have to understand too, the more events that we do, then we can afford to have more community recreation for the town. And even with that recreation though, we want to make that somewhat self-sustaining as well. So we're going to have to charge people for that. You know, women's recreation is subsidized by their town. It's not an enterprise account like we are. Most other towns have a recreation department that's part of their town budget. We do not. And everybody keeps saying we want to see recreation here up at the camp. Well, so do we. But it's expensive and we have to jump through hoops with Board of Health and, you know, hiring outside staff. And let's face it, we're a group of volunteers. We all have jobs. So we're in a tough position. We are going to have to raise rates. Dory and I talked tonight about, did you tell them what we figured out tonight?
No, I didn't yet.
Okay. Any event, I'm going to call on other people here, and I don't want to get too much into raising rates because we'll put that on the next agenda. So, you, Frank, and then you.
So, I don't think we're in a tough position at all of raising rates. I mean, we're in a very good position to raise rates. I don't know if, even if we voted to raise rates, I don't think anybody in the board or anything between the public can.
Yes.
So what they can do.
Yeah, they can vote against.
They can go
They can vote against it. Yeah, but then they would have to explain why we're trying to take $100,000 out of the enterprise. So there's no issue. I mean, there's nobody that can complain about us raising rates and also not complain about us trying to take $100,000 out of the enterprise. It doesn't make sense.
I understand that. They want us to make it work in a self-sufficient way, and I think anyone that does complain about raising rates, the numbers are the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. That's what's so great about math.
I think
You know, it's not subjective.
I think the only thing we need to do is just come up with a number that, and Audrey said, should go ahead and look at numbers that are sustainable. We should come up with a number, and then we should try to put in some kind of automated every year, 5% on top of that number, and go.
Dory,
So we don't even have this conversation.
just so you know, Dory and I have already started a little bit on this process of figuring out how much we would need to raise. And all of that, which we can get into next time, at the next meeting. But Melissa, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, we were at the Barnum show on Sunday. How many people, Joy was like, oh yeah, the campground's included in the package, blah, blah, blah. It's like 500 girls, and 500, she was what? That's all. And like shocked. I think there was like 3 comments.
Right.
And they were like, what, $500? That's it? Everybody says that. Everyone was like, this place is like so doesn't change.
Even a camp, even a cabins, $80 for a cabin, that's.
What do you know?
I saw even for the, was it the?
Frontier.
Frontier cabins.
Frontier cabins.
Even those get
You can get.
That's not all per person a night. This is, that's like hostel prices in Hanson. Like,
30 years ago.
You charge $100 a night.
Rent a cabin with electricity, a bathroom, a little kitchenette, it's $125 a night.
Right.
Yeah,
Can you find a hotel around?
No,
I'm gonna say the Frontier cabin.
We're gonna put bed, perfect cottage, or Craig, all this sort of thing. But Dory, did you say we had out-of-town campers this year? They were staying to visit family. They couldn't even get a hotel that would have held their family, and it wasn't very nice. They stayed there for what, a week?
A week, and they went, and they had the best time, they went down to the gate, they went up to the main, they had the best check-in with them every morning, they had so much fun.
So
They
$125
were
a
like $150 a night. Of course we're staying here. Like, that's what they said, they were staying on C300.
People say we don't want to raise the, like, there's no basis. Like, the numbers are the numbers. It's not
Right.
sustainable.
It
It can't operate.
Right, and the other thing too is when you think about it, we have caretakers that are here for all those hours, 2 hours before, or 4 hours before, and they take away the trash, and we pay for it, we pay for their trash to be removed. I mean, the costs are keep going up, and we're not ready to raise our rates.
Exactly, so this is a discussion that we are going to have, I'm going to put it on the agenda for the next meeting, in depth. Okay, it's going to be a very short agenda, it's pretty much going to be about that and changing anything we want in the contract. You know, and no one apparently put anything into policies and procedures. Did it go to you?
No.
Oh, I just noted.
You noted, okay, so
Yeah.
we were told there was nothing in email. So right now, Brian, I recognize you, but then I'm going to limit the rest of this discussion, and let's keep the discussion right now to the article at town meeting.
Just a quick note, I know it is like walking and stuff, when you say it's not worth more money or whatever.
Yeah.
When we were at the meeting, you know, so it was at the meeting, I went to the meeting, and when we were asking if we could, we were getting back with 2 other places that one was charging less than us. But what John Zuko found out after was they didn't seem to have any of that, you had to buy their food. So that raised it another $10,000. So
Right.
that's just some of the stuff that you might encounter, so. When
And that's very
you
true.
dig and find out everything you can about these other places, because it's gonna get pushed back. You know, I hate to recall this thing, but that place
You're
is being
exactly,
so.
you're exactly right, and a lot of places do make money on food, that's where they make up
Right.
for the low price. It's, you know, it's like colleges, they lower the tuition and raise the fees, one way or the other, somebody's getting their money. Okay,
That was just a
so-
little piece of information.
No, you're exactly right, thank you for bringing it up.
I will gladly volunteer to do that list.
Right,
Look at your own kids.
right,
So you can determine what you're spending for food.
Right.
Who else does that?
right, okay, so
These cost savings.
in regards to, on the agenda, the town meeting and the expenditure and revenue reports, fiscal year 2022, do you have any more comments?
I would ask a question, okay, how is Walkway written out? So what is the exact wording of our warrant?
Of our articles?
Of our,
Right, so it will be, see if the town will transfer, and the sum of money is to be determined. So it will say, see if the town will vote to transfer some of the money. And there will be a dollar figure in there in the motion, and so I'll be addressed in the motion. I met with the town accountant, and I met with the town administrator, and she said this, you know, this can all be handled on the floor. Count the salaries and indirect costs, and to transfer some of the money from free cash to the recreation enterprise salary account. So it'll be one article covering both things, if you will. One was the expenses going to salaries to fix the issue. The second is asking money from free cash. If you determine $100,000,
can I understand that? We need money figures. You cannot present.
there's going to be a dollar figure, yeah.
That's what I'm asking for.
Well,
What is the dollar figure?
Well, right now, the dollar figure to take care of is $20,000 to take care of the mistake that was made from salaries, from everything coming out of salaries.
Okay, so
That would be,
what you're gonna
hold on,
have to-
let her finish explaining.
I need to explain, ask the question on what you just said.
Yep,
So what we're asking for is $20,000 to correct the salary portion.
exactly.
Okay, and then on top of that, you're gonna ask for approximately $80,000 from free cash?
80, 90, 100, whatever you decide, yep.
Okay, but I need to let you know that, remember, back in the May meeting, they said that they would not forward us any money at all. That was what they voted on at that time. So whether they're gonna change their minds now, that's a question. So I mean, if you're gonna depend on them to say that they're gonna accept our ask, give $100,000 to us for free cash, or even $50,000 to us for free cash, that's gonna be,
Oh, I know. That I will tell you, just that what made me feel a little bit better, the town accountant recommended it as well. He said, you know, this is an unusual time, with COVID, no relief, no revenue. So he said, I mean, it does have to go canvas, no finance committee and all that. And then it may not pass, and then we have serious financial problems. But it may, if that's the direction that you want to go. Frank?
So, question actually for John, and Lori as well. So if we ask for $100,000 in additional budget and it comes into be an article, right? Even if the board and the finance committee don't recommend it, it can still be voted in with the citizens of the town, right? So it doesn't really
Yes,
matter.
it's
Okay.
up to town meeting.
Okay, it's up to town meeting as a whole. Okay, I just want to make sure that they can't.
you would have to hold it, and then you would have to put out your vote individually as to whether you accept the select, because usually the selectmen and the financial committee don't agree. But on a lot of things, but usually when you go to it, you have to approve of the financial column, not the selectmen's column. So when you get to that particular line, and there's two different figures that they're doing it, you have to hold it, so that you have to go back and explain why you held it, and the reasons for holding it. So there is because that's what we had to do once before at one of the meetings to hold it, when we did it for the enterprise fund, for the questioning on that. And they tried to pull us out of there once before. And I held that particular article, we got to pass it, the financial company got kicked out, and we got our money. So you have to be tricky, and you have to understand that part of it.
You have to ask at the beginning of the meeting, are you going with the board of selectmen's or are you going with FinCom's?
Yeah, I think they voted that last one, just like
Yeah, but if we don't care about that as a problem, we'll just grab it right back.
that makes sense. So, another question, do we have a list of how much money the town has taken from our enterprise fund? So, like, I don't know.
They don't tell us.
They don't take anything.
They don't take it.
Okay.
I did attach, so you could look just at the past 3 years' revenue, how much they put in, given from the free cash transferred into our account, that is in the past 3 years. So, I mean, it's just clear, we're not sustainable on our own. Not with the current rate structure.
Right.
Current rate
But
structure.
the way things are going with all the rentals and all the weddings and all that, I mean, we should be about.
I mean, they can't say that we're not looking, because we're booked.
Right, 2023, right?
Well, yeah,
So they can't say, oh, you're not looking, right? Well, we are, but we're not making money, so it's a problem.
Yeah, right, exactly, like this.
I would like to know what people are thinking before we make a motion. Do we want to ask for 100,000? Do we want to ask for less, more? What do you want to do?
How much do we actually need, to give us, what about all our extra retained earnings from the last 2 years?
Yes, well, we started out, when we had the year with no revenue, a year ago, we started out, we had 58 cents in our retained earnings.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah.
In 2020, we had retained earnings of 29,000, I thought.
Yeah, no, we only had 58, as of last year, we had 58 cents, which was nothing. So, but yeah, so our retained earnings is 145, 750, 160. So we really need $90,160 if we're going to sustain.
That's to sustain.
To sustain our expenses and revenues, and then $90,000. 90,000.
9,160.
Yeah, 90,160. And that's that's not even talking about doing other projects or
That's it. That's
anything.
bare minimum sustaining this lodge.
And then if you want to do,
Salaries.
right, you want to do, swim lessons and winter things in the cold and all sorts of things. And you gotta,
Well, even just to fix the windows,
right?
because now we have a window where the wires are stripped.
Yes, another window.
So the wires are stripped, so every time you do that, you can short out fuses, start a fire, we don't want that. So little things that pop up that are gonna cost money to fix. So that $90,000 figure is just barely covering us with no incidentals, nothing that should pop up.
I think.
I'm gonna recognize Brian.
I know you're saying 90 grand, I mean, if we're asking for 100 grand, what's $10,000?
Exactly, that's kind of the way I feel.
Do we want to roll the dice and say 150 because we are going to, we have a kitchen, that's an issue, we don't know what's going to come out to yet. Then north end is on the brink, that's fine, but then we have stuff that has to be done on the south end, potential work has to be on the south end. We have landscape that's going on, that's going to have to continue out, planning, and we have a lot of stuff going on. We may want to roll the dice, if we can explain where the money's going, I don't think that we put in the town that's happening.
Well,
You know what, makes sense, let's just get it out of the way.
Well, the electricity and everything makes a lot of sense only because vandalism, we have to get cameras. We have to do that if we're going to prevent daytime vandalism.
I think 150 would probably be a better option to do that.
So you gotta go big, and they say, you know what, that's not enough, let's cut down to 120.
Okay.
The haggling game can go on.
Okay.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Correct.
Right, so I'll entertain a motion to hear, Joan,
I was just gonna say, that the finance committee is gonna come back and say, well, let's go over to not heck us out of enterprise, because the town will provide.
Okay.
And that's gonna be the big question, that's gonna come up at the town meeting, so you're gonna have to fight them on that part of it too. So just remember, be prepared for them, no matter what you ask for money, because they had said no free cash, and yet the finance committee is determined to go back to the town money.
I don't want to assume anything about the finance committee or any other committee. I just want us to worry about what we want to do here. I know we're going to get, I think we know, right, where we stand with the finance committee, so everybody know. All right, Brian Smith, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, if that doesn't justify a rate increase, I don't know what does, because we go
Right.
back.
Which we will talk
That's what
about
I'm saying.
at the next meeting. So let's get a motion, I'll entertain a motion to request $150,000 on the next article for town meeting.
So,
Second. All those in favor? Okay, there we go.
We have two figures that we have to approve.
I'm sorry?
We have two figures we have to approve, one for the salaries and one for the other free cash.
That's
This one.
Okay, this one was from free cash.
cash, yeah.
And-
Right,
Yeah,
but we have to
you're
vote
right.
it on the other one, so
Absolutely.
we have to vote actually on two.
Okay, then, make a motion.
I make a motion that we ask for the $20,000 to be put into
Salaries.
transfer into salaries.
I think it was actually 19,000, sorry, I just said 20, but the actual figure is 19.
We want to go over 20,000 just to.
This was more exact, this was real money, because it's going on for years. I should have said 19,000, yeah.
19,000 even or
Yeah,
change?
even.
Okay, $19,000 to salaries that was taken away from us the last time.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. All those in favor? Okay.
We didn't, I don't think we
Where
finished really 100,000, 100, what did we say, 150,000? Okay, so did we finish that?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay,
Sorry.
so let's move on. Request for reimbursement of wedding deposits.
Oh, is this that, this is, okay, I think I didn't have the back up. This is, two requests, for wedding, they canceled their wedding. And no COVID related, nothing, they understand that the deposit is non-refundable. And these are a couple of, one wedding is 2021, so there's really, I don't think anything we can do with that. But there's a wedding in 2022, and they're asking if we sell that date, would they get their deposit back? They understand it's non-refundable and they signed off on it, and they understand that. I said, I can ask the commission, but.
We've done that before, haven't we?
We did it in relation, we did it if it was a COVID-related cancellation.
I think
Yeah.
there was another one before.
Yeah, you did do it in the past if we booked
As
it.
long as someone booked that, we still charge them some type of administration fee for the time. I know we keep.
Again, are these things that need to be put in our policies and procedures and in the actual contract? So that's what I'm saying, we need to update our contract as these situations come up. We can't just keep going situation by situation. We need to spell it out beforehand when somebody signs a contract.
That's setting the precedent, because other departments can do that. They sign the paper.
That it's not refundable. I know, when we just had a discussion on our dire financial situation, I understand that.
And you're giving money.
I think we did it in relation to COVID, though. I'm pretty sure in the past we did it in relation to COVID, or
It was
Or is it
one-
death or anything else?
somebody the parent had died.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
In which case, we had to verify the death of the parent and everything when we did that. I don't know.
How much is it being refunded?
Probably 2,500
For both weddings, right?
for one, and then the other one is probably 2,000.
Okay, so the 2022 one is the 2,500, right?
Yeah.
The other one's in 20.
20
Yeah, it's coming up this year, yeah.
The one for this year, no.
Yeah.
We are not
Yeah,
refunding.
I think for the one for this year, no, but the one for 2022, I think if we,
Consolidate.
well,
Like everything but $500.
so not only sell the date, but if we have the price raising discussion next week about it, we could sell the date at a higher rate if we approve higher rates for next year.
We're approving higher rates. No, we can't do anything for 2022.
Not till
Well,
it comes
no, right, so if the date itself is booked, and then we refund them, that date's not booked. So if we raise the rates, and then we can fill that date with a higher rate, right?
I think if we're booked out pretty much for 2022.
So that those rates.
Those rates have to stay. They sign,
For even new events, so if we had an event that come in, if we raise the rates today, right, and we go ahead and book a new event for 2022 tomorrow, that rate, the old rate still applies.
but I think we need to start January 1 of 2023 and grandfather in the people that have already booked, the 3 weddings that have already booked in 2023. I think that that's the right way to do it, the moral thing. I'm not that I'm trying to be, highest or...
It's not calendar year, it's fiscal year.
I understand that, but the world doesn't run on a fiscal year.
I understand that,
Yeah,
but
but we
we
do.
have to write policies that way. In other words, that's the law, that's part of the law. But we won't take effect until 2023, but only after there's approval by the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
So you can't say even if we approve it, because it has nothing to do with just us. It
Yeah.
has to do with the TA and the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so it would be fiscal year 2023, right?
That would
So
be the earliest that we
not
can
next
do
May,
it.
but the May after that. Yeah, okay, or July, sorry, not May.
It's this May. In other words, you have to have all this prepared by this May for you to be approved in 2023.
Okay.
Right.
And that starts in July.
Yeah, I think that the 2022, if we can book the date, then we should refund it.
I know what you're saying, Frank, because if you rebook the date, okay, you haven't lost money, but you should be charging those folks for the administrative. In the policy.
Yes, I agree with that. What month of 2022 are we talking?
I think it's like June, so it'll probably sell.
You think it'll sell? It's really only 7 months away.
Yeah.
Just strong date for June.
Yeah.
June's really hot for weddings, especially, for
And
next
getting
year.
it that price that they're gonna get it here, as opposed to some of the other places that
Well,
you.
there are some people who do things quickly. Within a short time span.
Did you have-
I I think we have a no refund policy, and I think we need to stick with that. We don't have anything in our policies and procedures that say within a certain time frame you get a discount or you get some of your refund back or anything. It's a no refund, and I think that there are no extenuating circumstances that are causing these cancellations where there's a death or COVID or deployment or something, then I think that would deposit policy is a no refund policy.
Well, I'm thinking, I think that that's probably, my opinion is, I think that that's the way we should go for now. I'm thinking when and if we raise rates, that we can put something in there that might soften the blow of raising rates, that if your wedding is canceled, because that's still something that nobody else really does.
Right.
That if we do book the date, we will make you that accommodation. And I think that that's us going out of our way, because other venues do not do that.
This just came to us too. Somebody just came to us looking for a refund on a deposit not that long ago. We said, yeah,
So
so,
I did that.
yeah,
And that was also when they rebooked, I think they rebooked another day and then they also canceled that day too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no crazy circumstances in this 2022 wedding that
No.
just they just decided they didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Hey.
But I think you're right. When we redo our rates, I think when we redo our rates, then yeah, I think, you know, if your wedding is within the year, maybe, that there are no refunds at all. If it's a year plus, then we can pre-book your date, you know, we'll.
That's
keep
a
it
policy
up to
procedure.
someone.
Right, and when we get into the policies and procedures,
Right.
you know.
I think the rebooks are at the end, isn't it? In policies, you're allowed to rebook.
Yes, you are allowed to rebook, that's already in there, but for people that don't want to rebook
Right.
and selling the date to someone else,
Right.
I mean,
That administration,
Add
this
to
is just so
my
much
6 months
missing.
out.
my girlfriend had her wedding canceled due to COVID because it was a 250 person wedding, she couldn't have it. So she lost $20,000.
A lot of people weren't giving anybody, I think it was, when John said, you want to give a refund, stop.
Right,
It was
it's
terrible.
just the way it goes. All right, so we're voting no on refund. Do we want to take a vote? We have to, okay, I'll entertain a motion to
Say no to me.
deny the request for wedding refund in 2022.
So moved.
All those in favor?
She knows.
I mean, they have our most sincere regrets about that, but we had to balance it with everything else. I hope you please explain that to them.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm sorry, could we go back, if you don't mind, just back to I just had a thought, the discussion on the article, because as I'm thinking about it, we just voted the 19,000, we voted the $19,000, which is correct.
For the salaries.
That's correct. But I just got to thinking, if it doesn't, we don't want to limit us. I think we want to, if you could change the vote to say, and possibly additional transfers, and I don't know the dollar figure yet, because if the money we don't get money from free cash, then we may need to take some monies from expenses to transfer to salaries.
So to amend.
To amend. So the 19,000 is the exact number for the mistake, but we don't want to cut us off. We want to also say in additional monies as deemed necessary, because we may at that special town meeting, it's our only opportunity to do it, to transfer from expenses to salaries. So I can amend that, I can put that in.
Okay, so
as a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've done, you may be a All right. Reword it, Lori. I think we're all in. All right. Okay, thank you.
Do we have
Okay.
to vote on that again?
No. Second. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, team reports. Tomorrow night is the Conservation Commission meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got, who's going?
All
All right, I might try to go if,
I also might try to go.
okay.
Yeah.
I might not because of where my thumbs up right now, but,
We have, oh yeah, so Jory, you sent out the agenda for that, yeah, well, oh yeah, okay. So-
I know that in the big picture, we have to take care of the washout down at the cove and really finally attack that problem from ever occurring again. I get that. I know it's step one, but can that be done? What I really want to know at this meeting is, can that be done and still open the beach next year? Because bottom line is, we cannot open the beach until we get rid of that sand and get rid of the eggs that are there with the sand wasps. And I know that this is doing things out of order. I will recognize you in just a minute. I know that this is doing things out of order, but I feel that opening the beach is a priority, and I feel that getting the sand off of the beach, and at least, I don't know, maybe not hydroseeding and trying to grow grass this fall, but at least getting the sand off the beach where those eggs could be is a top priority for me. I don't know where you guys all stand on it, where the rest of the commission stands on it, or the board, or even the town, but I feel like we need to open it safely. I also spoke with one of the selectmen at Hanson Day, and I do know that there has been money appropriated for pond maintenance. I heard from 3 different people at Hanson Day that said, oh, we used to train and do swimming in the pond, but we can't now because people were getting tangled in the bladder wart. I'm very, very concerned about somebody being in that pond and getting tangled up and drowning. So I just would like to ask that you bring both of those things up at that meeting if I'm not there. I'm sorry, I see them as immediate needs. Ryan, go ahead.
But it's up to Brian, because we were discussing this earlier. I think he had a plan that I think we're going to talk about tomorrow night, but probably let the comment on it. But your kind of idea for that area, it would be a quick, somewhat inexpensive way of just getting it all done.
Well, as far as the erosion piece.
Right.
In regards to the sand loss, I don't know where the Conservation Commission is going to go with that, because that's a major expense, getting that sand out of there. Whether you could get back in there and disrupt the wasp population, maybe that's an option. I don't know where they're going to go. But I know the big piece is going to stop the erosion first. That's what the primary is going to be. As far as the sand loss, we have to see where this takes us. Maybe there too.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to push back, because that's a major expense to take that sand beach. What are you going to put in there? I mean, if you put, just loam in there, there's a potential that's going to wash it back.
Yes, I completely understand that. I mean, that was definitely not lost on me, but
So
go ahead.
So, I was thinking about the same thing, about the loom. I was figuring if we really wanted to, we could put some sort of 4x4 pressure treated, if the conservation laws obviously, on the part, filled out with loom and then hydroseed that. So at least the 4x4 pressure treated would probably keep some of the washout out of from the loom. And maybe we could have kind of like a picnic area, some picnic tables. Not all parents want to be in the sand when their kids are at the beach.
True, we could take some of that, but
Yeah.
some of that will be crushed down too to stop that erosion, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
Up where the holding tanks and all that is, that has to be crushed stone or gravel, process material.
Yeah,
From that road and graded, period.
But that's further back, isn't it?
Further back,
That's-
that might stop
near the
the
back.
erosion regardless of what you put in that.
Am I thinking of this wrong? Isn't that all near the bathhouse, like behind
It is,
the
but you
bathhouse?
It's on this side of the.
You can
outside of the
ocean
outside.
pieces
Where
coming
the
from.
gate, between the gate
Sorry.
and the house.
Between the gate and the bathhouse, is that where it is? Okay.
So if you have, and not everybody sees it, bathhouse right here, if you take a 10, 15, maybe 20-foot strip of sand and keep it all the way around like that, and everything else can be filled with loom or salt, or not salt,
Gravel.
gravel, thank you. That would stop a good amount of erosion from going into the pond too, I think. So, but the thing is I'm not a landscaper, so I don't know how that would be.
That's how they're gonna gauge us to.
Mr. Sheehan about it, so, you know, or conservation about it. Conservation. I was, you know, I had the idea of after the front is done, if we're satisfied with this and the budget that's in there, we can have it come back for spring of next year and potentially come up with a design for that, depending on how we do it. But either way, Randy is
I think we're engaging conservation with their funds, so I don't know what they're gonna let us do.
Yeah.
Definitely the erosion they're gonna probably pick up. It's gonna be a question, are they gonna pick up the sand loss?
Well, Highway said they'd help with the sand.
Yes.
Mr. Jameson said that.
Would they take that sand out like loom and then seal it?
Would they dump the loom? I don't know. And again, this is the same question going back to the landscaping. Would they dump the loom? Would they grade everything? Would, you know, I think, again, on something like this, I really do think you need some professional guidance at least to,
I think the Board of Conservation is going to dictate it.
Good job, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, they definitely-
Yeah,
they definitely
We
will,
can't do
yeah.
anything that we want to anyways, it's all gonna be what,
I mean, we can ask for all these
Right,
things, but
Yeah.
it's going to be,
I mean, realistically, they need to give us a plan that they're satisfied with. I mean, that's, if they don't, I mean, if they didn't give us no guidance for it, then what are we supposed to do? They're the ones that are now involved in court, so.
we should just
but-
get through this meeting and see, you know,
Yeah.
what they, this is really the first step.
what they say. Okay, it is the first step. So I just wanted to impress upon the people that are going to that meeting. Please, you know, the goal really is we need to open the beach. I have a friend that works at Gaylanders who said, you know, you can take that sand all off the beach, run it through a giant heat thing, and then kill all the eggs and dump it back. But that sounds extremely expensive to do. I'm sorry, like, that was just like, you know, and again, I don't know how deep the eggs are. I don't know, did Plymouth County Extension give you any idea how far down they went?
No, it didn't indicate how deep.
Okay,
that's
so,
more of Mr. Clemens, we can
Yeah.
gauge him, is who's your take on this?
like, right, because they're everywhere. We can't just remove the sand from one area. They are everywhere. So this is a complete,
I think we'll have a better idea after tomorrow, we put on the
Okay.
next agenda for kind
So-
of a action plan.
okay, and, Maddie? You don't have anything? Okay. Anybody other team reports?
One thing kind of on the, I talked last meeting about the signs in the kitchens for the caterers and things like that. Can you guys please send some ideas to Dory about what we want on those signs? Like the obvious ones like no drinking, you know, don't leave your stuff here, you know, things like that. If there's anything, you know, no drinking on the job. So, kind of obvious, but, and then I can go on by.
Sometimes not.
Yeah, and if I have 6 or 7 ideas that we want all vendors to follow, I can put up a couple sketches for some metal signs and everything like that. I'll give them to us the next meeting so we can approve them or amend them or something like that, so.
Could we also get some no parking signs?
I can make them all custom up over there if you want me to. I'll do no parking signs. if
I
you
think we
want to.
need several no parking signs.
I'll come up with a design for it.
You might even want to just because we don't want people parking in where, on the land, I won't even say grass, in between the trees going toward the bridal cottage. What's that?
Sometimes I pull in there during the day, and it's like, where's the parking lot?
They're treating it like a parking lot, right, and that makes me want to drop the boulders right there.
So what I'll do is I'll come up with a couple of designs that are like the red no parking signs that like, you know, have our logo on and stuff like that, and then we can approve them.
What about like a wooden sign, like, so that it's more aesthetically pleasing than a flat, like a
And we did
metal.
say we were going to talk to the guys that did the other sign, right?
So,
And then, hold on, Maddie?
Just a really quick comment with Bridal Cottage. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but could we potentially think about an ideal situation where we could make a walkway up from the
You
parking
did
lot?
mention that.
There's like a lot of roots, and I think that's why people park up there. It's a bit of a hike to get up that hill
I've already started.
from the parking lot up.
Oh, not the parking lot, no,
No, yeah, from the
that's
parking lot.
another one that I wanna.
I don't know what could work, and well, clearly we don't have that many expenses to, gauge for it, but it's just, I think that's why they're pulling up, is because they have to unload and they're there for the day or the night or whatever, so they're gonna hike.
But I'm talking about people that are just up here and for other things.
Okay.
And I'm gonna leave it there, okay? Because we have a parking lot, and people need to use it. And that again is another giant expense we are going to have to address eventually if we're gonna keep other areas of the camp intact.
Can the sign say guest parking rather than just parking? I think that'd be more directional for the main parking lot here. If you have signs saying that.
Yes, parking, event parking,
So the only reason I didn't want to do a wood sign is because I kind of wanted to have the reflecting on there for when,
for when it's dark.
for when it's dark out and things like that. You really won't be able to see the wood sign very well. But we can all come up with ideas, you know, after next meeting, after any kind of designs.
Maybe we can make the colors a little less.
I'll make them kind of like I'll make them the same color that we currently have the logo, except the logo will be at the bottom, and we, you know, I'll try to make it as nice as I can.
Okay.
And I can find a vendor that will probably be able to do it for us, so.
In order you can chime in and help with that because you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try some good graphics.
Madeline?
Is this just signs, or are we looking for parking signs too? Like, are we gonna do like a DJ, or not, like a bar parking sign?
Eventually, but we need to we need to send a list to Frank.
Matt, if you want to send me a list of all the signs you think we need,
Okay.
and I'll go through and I'll do the most important ones, like no parking, like no drinking, things like that.
And vendor
So,
parking only.
Vendor parking only, and then I'll come up with a couple designs, just basic designs, and we can kind of customize it however we want, or something like that. So if you just send that to me, I'll get that done.
It's unfortunate that people come here and they just think they can do whatever they want. And, you know, we want them to use the place, but right now this commission is in charge of making sure it stays, you know, as well maintained as possible. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking, maybe we could go to like a mass sign place. They do all kinds of custom signs where we could get something that might have that reflective, but still give like a woodsy, not so sterile
Yeah.
feel to the sign, right?
Yeah. Does Webster do that?
Webster, no, they do large format printing and stuff, but they don't do metals and things.
Okay.
There's a sign around there in Kingston.
Yeah, that's why.
There's one in Plymouth that I could
That's right.
All right, we're gonna move on. So you guys will take care of
Yeah,
that.
Frank and I will
Okay,
work.
Yeah,
thanks.
great. Yeah, you guys, like I said, just the rules, yeah, that's something.
Is there any old business that we need to go over? Do we talk about?
Just policies and procedures.
Yeah, I went through the policies and procedures, but I don't know that we have time, you know, it wasn't on the agenda, I thought it was going to be, so I went through it, but maybe the next meeting when we talk about rates, we can go through this.
And do it all?
Yeah, I don't, some of my comments were just like little things, like, there's a couple things in here, like, I'm gonna jot it down, but there's some things in here like, dogs not being allowed unless it's a service dog and proven documentation that's against the law. You can't ask a service dog for documentation, and a service dog doesn't even have to be in a service vest. It's a Massachusetts law. I looked it up and I printed it out today, so you can't ask for any documentation.
Ask if you can vaccinate.
Yeah,
It
so,
doesn't have to have a call.
no, you don't have, the dog doesn't
No.
have to. The person just has to say it's a service dog, and you have, the law is that you have to take their word for it.
It's like
It literally says
it's like
that
asking
you
your
don't have
medical history,
Yeah.
you don't have to answer it. What was that?
Yeah.
It's HIPAA, exactly, because
I think at the time when they came up with that the service dog can't have the vest on.
It doesn't have to.
License, and this goes way back.
By law, they don't have to.
Right,
And
so-
I think it was just inside the lodge when it was food was the main culprit. This was.
and we can keep the no dogs on the beach during the busy season.
Yeah, but I just, you know, you're not allowed to ask for any proof of
Okay.
a service dog at all. There's also a part in here, there's a lot of things that like you've got that are asked for, like front door lodge code and, you know, keeping track of that, but it doesn't say who manages that and where it's documented, like where that information lies. There's a lot of things that are kind of like that, like
They're left very open-ended.
who manages it, who's
Right.
actually following up with that.
Was everything under there, a lot of that stuff stuff was under the,
Caretaker.
Director, but it doesn't even say that. It doesn't even
It doesn't,
say that
but it
it's
was,
managed by.
that's where the attorney stuff and the my stuff, it was
Right.
all over the place.
Hold on a second.
There was also,
Did you want to ask a question to Audrey?
All I was gonna say, I forgot that you guys sent me this and I started typing on the thing and I realized I never sent it to anybody. But are we talking about this now or are we gonna wait till the next?
I think we're gonna wait.
well, I'm just giving
Well,
you a
no,
little
I wasn't
example.
trying to stop Audrey, I just wanna make sure that I can put.
Yeah, there was, the only one other kind of big thing that I noticed in here, I'm just trying to find it, is, there's a line in here that says, no alcohol shall be consumed on the grounds of the property unless approved by the Recreation Commission. We don't approve that,
We
the
don't
Board of
approve it.
Selectmen does it with a permit. So that should be striked from this completely.
I think that was something the attorney.
Stricken from the record.
Stricken from the record. Anyway, those are the kind of little things that I noticed in here.
Well, thank you for being diligent in that.
So one question I have, this is more of a, I've never made a policies and procedures before. How do we reconcile all those changes? So it's like how is the, what she has, and what Brian has, and what everybody else has, the ideas, how do we kind of take that and put it into one
Well, we go with the current
document?
document we have, we tweak it, and then we have town council.
So we come here and we'd be like, okay, let's strike this to
Yes,
this.
it's gonna be a long, lengthy process.
Okay, no, that's fine. I was just confused what the
Yeah.
process was.
And then I also made some notes too, so just some things to think about too, is that we don't have anything on here really on functions, like
Right.
letting deposits and the policy on the returns and what's not allowed, such as candles and confetti, like none of that stuff is in here.
That's contractual.
That's right, and that's what Jory and I had a conversation about today already. We need, when we do this,
Yeah.
we do need to include, because we'll all be in that mindset.
Yeah.
We do need to include the updating of our contract,
Yeah.
so that we can include those things and send them both to town council
Mhm.
for a final review, and get them both back at the same time so that they all match.
So not the next agenda, but the agenda after, that would be policies and procedures in the contract, because I think, so next agenda, we have to do all the things with town meeting, what we kind of just discussed, and landscaping and things like that. So maybe the next meeting after the town, or the meeting after the town meeting, we should make it solely based policies, procedures, contract, and that's it.
And that will be.
Okay.
The town meeting is next week, it's
October 4th, 2 weeks.
October 4th. Okay, we don't have another meeting until after October 4th, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was just saying.
It's not going to interfere with the town.
Yeah, I was just saying that, after that one, after the next one, where we have the landscape, and then one meeting after the town meeting, whatever it is, we can just solely policies and procedures, and, make it a nice 4-hour meeting on a Saturday.
The second meeting after the town meeting.
Put it during the meeting, okay?
Yeah.
Bring it to the end.
I'll pick you up, we can talk.
But Jory, I think next week we did want to put the budget in the proposal of raising rates.
Raising rates, yes.
Okay, so that will take up quite a bit of time as well. So we'll do that for the next meeting, and we'll leave policies and procedures in the contract for the meeting after that. Okay?
Yep.
So, all right. Any other old business? And a departmental update?
I just would say, Melissa and I were at the First Crown Show, and it was excellent. There were so many vendors, and they were really great too, offering various different, things. A lot of people loved the place, of course, very interested. We definitely booked 3 weddings. I didn't get any actual money, but we definitely booked at least 3 weddings, for sure, we know that. Everybody loved it, and they said they were going to tell everybody, and it was very, very, it was a fun day. So
I was actually surprised that a lot of the brides that have already booked were here.
there were a lot,
So they've already booked a wedding, but they were here like just checking out the place, they wanted to take pictures and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and I'm like, crap, we should have bought the manual, we should have copies of it.
Yeah.
But we did mention that there's gonna be a manual coming out, we're gonna get that to you. I did get the floor plan, so it goes on the website, but a lot of the brides were able to like talk up, what they were doing, and just talk to them, so it was good.
It was good, yeah.
And just kind of connecting this to policies and procedures, I know you said you definitely book 3 weddings when we don't have any deposits yet. Nothing is completely booked until we have money.
Right.
And I hate to sound
No, you're right.
like that, but So that if somebody else called for that date, I think our policy would be that you would call the other people.
Oh, yeah.
That first.
Usually, check the date and at least say no deposit, yeah.
I always do that.
Right, I know you do.
Yeah, and that way I call, yeah, exactly, it says your last opportunity, do you want it or not?
Right, and that's it. You get the money up here tomorrow.
Right.
Or the date's gone.
Exactly. I do that if someone says, I promise I'll get you the money tomorrow, but I don't, I'm so afraid the date, they were so afraid the date was gonna go because the person after them may want that date, so.
She always goes back, strong arms, and you just,
That's right, no?
You can put it like that if you want. Like that. And before we do anything to, what you said about the book and everything, do we have those printed or?
The only thing I'm waiting for is, I'm not sure about the email, the CK office.
It's good, Maddie confirmed.
Okay, all right.
It's good.
Okay, perfect.
I got it. It's good.
Awesome, great,
Yeah.
then I will print them.
That one, did you take care of the CK office one? Did you have it? So who's checking
I
it?
did tell her.
No, it
call.
gets forwarded automatically to Dory's email.
Oh,
So
because I sent one from my personal email to CK office and I got it.
So it's all right. So she doesn't have to check another email address?
Yeah, right. Just came in.
So you don't have to check me talking about that.
That was the only other thing for that.
Okay, and the only other thing I wanted to say was that we need printed up some more of those pamphlets, the folded things.
Yes.
Remember?
The brochures.
The brochures, yeah, we need more of those printed up. I also have questions, somebody was asking me, I was up here this weekend just walking around and somebody asked, do we have pictures of our cabins on the site, on the website? Pictures of the Frontier cabin, pictures of the bridal cottage, that might be something we need to start doing. Because
Like
people-
inside?
Yes, so they know what they're renting.
talked about that, well, he never got a chance to do it.
But we could do that, and we can put them on our site so that later on, when we do get to an online rental system for the cabins, we already have something to draw from. So maybe, you know, Maddie, when outdoor jobs slow down, we can do some, you know, staging, so to speak, of cabins, and put some pictures, take some pictures, and get them up on the sites.
It'd actually be really nice to do it with the leaves not to change.
Right.
Like that, so.
Okay. That was all I was saying.
So I just wanted to thank Maddie because the setup was really nice. They set up everything for the wedding outside. It was perfect. They opened the windows, like the wind was blowing. It was like so romantic.
I found out the place could go up in a minute because of the bare wires happening.
Oh, several people asked if they could have candles. I was like, yeah!
What place does allow candles?
No.
Yeah, lots of places do.
A lot of places.
I had candles.
How many years?
I was at a golf place though.
Right.
I wasn't at the historic.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
95%
River, is it Jones River?
They don't allow
They're
candles.
having, my best friend's having a wedding out there, they don't allow candles there.
Yeah, it's a big building.
I know what it's cost, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, they also.
Okay.
And it was funny, sorry, one more thing. They did find a costume. So Dory, did you tell Dory, to show Diana about the dress?
No, I didn't.
So I was hiring new fun, Jen. Jen found a costume wedding dress upstairs and hung it on the back. So it was like, it looks like a bridal dress or whatever. And one of the brides that showed up asked us if we should have it. She's like, it's perfect. She's like, I would, and I was like, what did you tell her? I don't know, we'll ask Diane.
Mission.
I guess it's a good shoe.
And I really thought it was and everything. I was like, wait a minute, is she booking a wedding?
She's already booked, I think it was one of the ones already booked.
She didn't, nobody yet.
No,
Crazy. I mean, should we start doing that?
No, there it is.
Okay.
But it was so, it's so pretty. She wants it. But it looked great as a decoration.
I mean, it's like shade. It needs to be clean, but like.
Well, luckily, you don't have to wear the dress.
Yeah.
It's funny, because the old fashion dresses are coming back.
Yeah.
which is nice to see.
I mean,
So I don't know, I don't know, if she books, maybe we can.
I'll bring it up, we'll put it on.
You
If
can
she
book.
wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Negotiate.
we will definitely have to do conservation on that.
Return, clean it and return.
Okay, the other thing I was gonna say is that John Zuko is going to do the Halloween event. But it will, he's got other people, so it's gonna cost $300.
How much?
300. Which I think is, I think he's bringing all kinds of stuff.
Great.
He is, and well, the thing is that he's a great DJ because he gets the crowd into it.
Sorry, that's one other question. So I had emailed, sorry I was a little late, but I emailed a draft budget spreadsheet for the Halloween Commission subcommittee, of where we're at.
Where are we at? It's not gonna be pretty.
It's gonna, well, I mean, looking at the numbers, we have over 650 people interested in the event. It's a free event, it is going to be, and it does, I'm up to $1,800 right now, and that doesn't include the buses, if we do buses, and it doesn't include the pumpkins. And it doesn't include John Zuko.
I'm gonna make calls this week to Lipinski's, to the Naz, and the place in Situate, for pumpkins.
And
maybe
what about-
between the three of them, we can get that many pumpkins donated.
What about the place in Plimpton? Sawcheck.
Oh, okay, all right, I'll try there too.
So, anyway,
And it's just,
I can
so they're at like the end of the season, so maybe, you know,
They'll get rid of
they're
some.
more willing to, you know, donate pumpkins.
but my concern, like my bigger concern is like, do we have budget for, do we, like, where can we pull from to pay for this stuff? Because like,
I think
we don't have a Halloween budget.
Again, if you say 150.
I think we need to double this, honestly. If last year was a paid event and now we've got like double the amount of people or more than that interested in coming, if it's a nice day, we're gonna be bombarded.
Well, the biggest issue is going to be the bus, and I spoke with one of the Board of Selectmen about that. We can ask the Council on Aging to donate some vans maybe. It's paying the drivers, that's the big issue. And as you know, some towns, I don't know how it is in Hanson, obviously Boston, they're calling in the National Guard, Weymouth doesn't have enough drivers, we got kids on waiting lists, can't even get to school. So, I don't know.
We did the school buses the last time.
We did school buses because they,
And the driver actually volunteered her time.
So I did get the, my contact on the buses has been sick. She emailed me tonight the number that I need to call. So I'll call that tomorrow and get that.
I think minimum we need two.
minimum.
We had to do that the last
Yeah.
time.
Can we have a suggested donation, and if you don't want to charge, sometimes.
Well, that's what I had said at the beginning, like to have something, but
I think we
I,
are trying to, asking for donations like that though.
I think because
of
of
the.
the-
Either that or,
yeah, because we're a
right,
municipality,
we're
we
not
need to do
supposed to
that.
ask for donations or whatever.
I mean, in the end, this is where we needed, like, the Friends to solicit vendor, sponsors.
You can contact some of the local businesses to see if they might be willing to sponsor it. And at least their name would be put out there that they were a sponsor from.
Well, we did. We were soliciting them to come and decorate and hand out candy. So they're coming and they're providing candy, trick or treating and decorations, and they're basically, you know, adopting a
People to
county.
give us monetary sponsorship.
Do you charge them for the cabins? Do we go up?
No, but they're providing candy and they're providing their own
We
decorations.
charged, I think, when Josh did it, I think it was $40 a cabin.
Right.
And they gave up candy, they did whatever they wanted. I think that's the way it worked with the businesses. I think it was just like.
I'm loath to do that right now
I'm not
after
saying-
COVID.
It's not
You know,
gonna cover
people
it.
took a business,
No, it's
you know, and it's
It's
just not enough.
So realistically, like, on the budget, I don't know if that was a line item to hit for candy. If the vendors are handing out candy, because we're gonna be doing a lot of the other stuff. Plus, like this, something like, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll donate
I don't
that.
care about that, I'll donate that, like, some of this stuff, we.
But I mean, the crafts, like, I think I did 100 orders, maybe, no, maybe it was like 200. And it was like, a little bit over $100.
And then we go upstairs and see what we got left from before. There was a ton of stuff left, not last year, obviously.
staying away from the games, we're doing everything outside,
There was
craft.
still a lot of grass stuff that goes.
We could probably call Shaw's and see if they'll donate some of the cups, napkins, marshmallows.
They're corporate, and it would have to go through their corporate office. I went to them last time to get pumpkins or whatever, they were doing it for one or two.
I just go to customer service desk and the store manager.
Yeah.
Use it. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
They're allowed to spend so much money locally, and then if it goes over that amount, then they have to go to corporate. But if it's local.
In the store, I think if it's items in the store, they have a little bit more flexibility, but maybe like a gift card or those kind of donations have to go to corporate. I can call, I'll call.
You do the same thing with Walmart,
Yeah.
they'll do it.
So anyway, so that was my whole thing, so I started the budget, we can tweak it, and then I'm going away for work on Thursday, but I won't be here for Saturday, but if we could do another subcommittee meeting
Yep.
in the next couple of weeks, just to talk about budget, and then we can present it to the commission, you know, what we think it's gonna cost, and then where we can find the money.
I'd say try your presidential centennial to see if they might want, they've done sponsorships before. And then the same thing with the motorcycle place Sullivan's. They might be able to.
Would you be able to call them? Would you be able to call them?
Well, I mean, I'm not very good on the phone. But,
Brian, you want to call?
I'm really sure.
Okay, that'd be great.
but I mean, at least if we could get some money from them for sponsorship, they're being publicized that they're giving it to a local event. And it's better for them, I mean,
I don't know why you're saying I'm good on the phone, you just articulately.
I'm fine.
You're selling it right now.
I mean, just record you when you get in.
I
Maddie,
used to be good at it.
I was gonna say, I'll be here on Saturday, and we can go up and take a look and see what's there. It's a little bit of a train wreck over the decorations category, but our plan was like, as we decorate, it will go back more
in
organized.
the orderly fashion.
So like, Christmas is gonna wait until we get to the holidays, but I can go check out and see what we have up there, because we have some donations from last year.
Are you still planning on the haunted house?
Yes, that's what we're meeting on Saturday.
Okay.
But there's a wedding in the pavilion. There's a wedding the night before that's renting the whole south end. So we were thinking of doing it in the Frontier cabin because we're gonna need more than just a couple hours to set that up. It's gonna take us a good week to create a haunted house.
Okay.
That would be good to get the people down that way too.
Yeah, to get people down there and you could have,
You could have a
Well-
pumpkin walk over the side, like the pumpkin.
right, pumpkin walk to the haunted house and then everything here.
I would just book those
It's-
cabins up now, if we're thinking about using them, because I don't know if people will book them in the next couple of weeks or something like that, but I don't know if we can block it off.
Well, just the Frontier cabin, maybe we could just block that off. I mean, if somebody, obviously, if they wanna rent it the weekend before, but I don't know how popular it is during the week.
I know, Maddie had a idea of one of the caretakers.
Yes, I said
Yeah,
something to
yeah.
maybe try to gate
Caretaker house
house.
too.
I think that's the haunted house.
I'm not sure you can do that, there's holes in the floors, that's not safe.
It's
It's
a,
not
It's
safe.
scary.
So
is that bad, Keener?
No, literally, not, if you get one kid that is steps in there and pushes, you know, he ends up in the basement, come on. So, you know. I know, some people probably pay extra for it. I'm concerned about volunteers, are you gonna get middle school kids to help you out? Or also, I'm gonna call up to the high school and get the National Honor Society back in for volunteers, as well as, is there a drama club up at the high school?
At the high school, yeah, I co-run the one at the middle school, but we haven't started yet. But the high school, I think, has started, saw flyers of their plays coming up, their auditions are soon.
Do you know who does that?
I can look at my school email and see if I can find it in there.
That's, all right, just get back to me.
Yeah.
And, can we put out a call on the website about, please, you know, if you want to decorate a cabin, let us know.
I was actually gonna set up I think,
Can you do a sign up?
well, I was gonna do a Google form sign up, you think that would work?
I think that'd be great.
If you want, because there were families at Hanson Day that were interested.
Yeah.
Yes, we did, we talked to a lot of people.
So, all right, I'll make a Google.
A Google, yeah, form just for signing
And I'll
up.
send it out, I did send it out to the email list last year.
And for volunteering if they don't want to,
Yeah.
you know, do that. Decorate it.
Okay.
And carve a pumpkin for the pumpkin walk. Okay.
What if we did, I was thinking too, like, if we do get a lot of pumpkins donated, what if we had like a carving night here, like on Friday night, and invited people and maybe just had like, you know, like a scary movie going on the screen and have families come in and just carve pumpkins here?
I'm fine with that.
Here. Yeah.
I'm fine
I
with
don't know
that.
if there's, I know there's a wedding Saturday night, but I don't know if there's one Friday night.
Like help us carve pumpkins.
Yeah, like, yeah, for the pumpkin walk.
$5 a person.
That'll be the thing.
You know, it's nice to have things for
That
free,
could
like
get
you said,
messy.
$5 is what?
It would get messy. It would get very messy.
Could get messy.
We have a wedding when? The 29th? Wait a minute.
29th is
You
what?
have to
The 29th is the wedding.
I mean, yeah, you definitely wouldn't do it in here. You'd have to do it like out, you'd have to do it somewhere outside, and then what you,
Right, and they've got the pavilion already, the wedding.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's gonna work, and I don't wanna keep them for a week, I don't wanna keep them for 3 days.
No, I was
because they
thinking like
smell,
the night before outside.
but they
Yeah,
can't,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
wedding, you
yeah.
can't really do it. So I think if we put out the Google form to our email list, by the way, who won the M&Ms and everything?
I haven't counted.
Do you want me to do that?
I just looked at the pieces of paper, they're still in the bucket, I just haven't
Do you
gotten
want
a
me to
chance.
do that because you're going away? Or do you want to do it while you're away alone in your hotel?
People was like, I'll do it tonight. I'm like, no, you're going to bed. No, I will do it.
But it was very nice, the end of the day worked out really well. A lot of people stopped by and took information and things, so that was really good. Okay, anything else? You have no caretaker report? Nobody? Is there anything they want to say? Yes,
What
no?
time did the meeting on last week?
Hold on.
Or was it-
Roger?
The electric issue downstairs has to be fixed. Now, I know you're talking budgets and stuff, there's no question, it has to be fixed as soon as.
Don't we have a good electrician, we said?
We do.
Did we call him?
Yes, but is the wires, isn't that mechanical? That's the wires?
The wires were installed in a place they should never have been.
But is it electrical wire or mechanical? wire?
Electrical wires.
It's not mechanical wires, okay, it's electrical.
Yeah, it's two cables that head out to the corner building.
Yeah,
Underneath the deck out here, they put them in where those weights go up and down,
yeah,
and they put them in back, and with the weights going up and down, they've been wearing without even knowing it, and the other night they let off a good arc.
okay.
So there's no conduit, it's just wiring, straight wiring?
Just regular household wiring.
It's like the house that you built.
So when they installed that corner building, the tea room, or what do you want to call it out there,
Oh, the little gazebo type.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that's where those wires go to. They are going to have to be cut, rerouted, and spliced into some boxes to be properly done. Otherwise, it's going to happen all over again.
And that we have the funding for it, from the article for 50,000 for the wiring. So I
Let's
called
get it
the
done.
same, but yeah, but he was asking me if it was mechanical or electrical. I thought it was the pulley, which is.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Is he
Yeah,
going to come out and over?
he's gonna, yeah.
So make sure Roger's.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, we talked about it.
Okay. Brian, did you have something?
How was the wiring? That wasn't something that was done recently, was it?
No, recently, because the damage is recent.
Is it
It's probably because this is the first year we've used that fourth window, so we probably haven't been hitting it at all. We just got that fixed last year. So we never worried about it from the beginning, because we wasn't on it.
You wouldn't have it before, except.
That has that wiring?
So what happens when you push the blocks up, that one goes behind like an electric thing, so it must be hitting it on its way up. But we haven't used it in years, so this is the first year it's probably grading away from all the
But the
lights.
other ones are fine.
The other ones are fine, it's just the fourth
That's
window.
going to be gazebo.
Which is the
porch.
Yes.
Yeah, and that hadn't been used for years until M6 got a flash a couple of years ago.
Wires should never been on there.
it's not the same electrician, right? Because the new electrician that we have is not the same, we did that.
I don't know how that works.
Okay, so I think we're all set? Okay. I think we discussed,
Tuesday after.
October 12th?
October 12th, because that was after Columbus Day, yes. So October 12th? And then we'll go back to Mondays on the 25th,
Perfect.
October 12th and 25th. You good with that? Okay, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Second, all those in favor? Aye, aye, good night, everybody.